All right, everybody, welcome back to this week's episode of the Wide Eye Sports Podcast. We got everybody back for the third straight week. We got Dalton, we got Riley, we got your main man Spoon and Brenner hosting on the mic. We're going to get right into things. If you've been here before, you know how it works. If not, we start every week's episode with an MVP from the previous week, an L from the previous week, a game of the week for the next week, and a pick'em for the next week. So with that, I'm going to get right underway and start with my MVP pick from this past week. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, Baker Mayfield.
Damn it! Why are you stealing my pick like that?
I thought you might do that.
I love Baker. You know I always find whenever he goes off, I'm going to point it out. You know
I
that.
know you love Baker. I know, but I mean, it was either him or Jared Goff, and I feel like being the only quarterback outside of Aaron Rodgers to ever have a perfect passer rating at Lambeau Field kind of deserves the MVP. I mean, the Bucs had their playoff hopes on the line. Like, if they lose to Green Bay, then Green Bay gets the tiebreaker over them, and it's a battle from then on out. They need some help. They went into Green Bay and said, "Nah, we're here. We're gonna take hold of our own destiny, and we're gonna win the fucking game." All Baker Mayfield did was go 22 of 28 for 381 yards, 4 touchdowns, and zero turnovers on the day. I mean, that's fucking insane. Dude balled the fuck out at Lambeau.
He had a really good game. That's why I had him as mine.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
prop it a little bit just so I put somebody on there. But go ahead.
Shout out to Jared Goff throwing 5 touchdown passes against the Broncos. If that's some, I got that in there. But I'm gonna move on to my biggest L this week, and this is gonna be real controversial on this show. I'm gonna get a lot of hate.
It's fun.
It's Dak. Dak is my biggest loser this week.
Dak
Hold on. Not because he was the main issue in the game. Let's get that out of the way. I'm not saying it's all Dak's fault that he lost. I will say,
jumping ahead of you, I feel like I know what you're gonna say, because last week, the Dallas defense did exactly what they did against the Bills, and Dak showed up and kept them in the race for that game, and he did not do that this game, and he totally could have.
Nope, that's not where I'm going. Dak lost out on MVP this last week. He has lost the ability to win the MVP because of the fact that they got dominated in that game. If that had been a close loss, he'd be top 3 still.
So,
and he may even be third.
Let me ask you this: where's Brock Purdy in your? Okay, never mind. We'll talk about this later.
Yeah, we'll
talk about MVP later.
We'll talk about MVP later. I'm just saying. Right now, I think Dak was the front runner and favorite to win MVP. And if he had made it if the Cowboys had made it a close game, he might still be like 2 or maybe 3. Right now, he'd be lucky to be 3, in my opinion, after the shitting they took, unfortunately enough. And I'm not saying it was all his fault. Like, the whole offense played poorly, right? Like, he was not the only issue. Now, he did go 21 for 34 with 134 yards, a turnover, and no touchdowns. So that isn't great. But also, people have to catch the ball. People have to do other things. They only rush for like... Yeah, they only rush for like 60 yards. Like, it's not a huge... Like, it's not all on Dak.
14 of those points are on the Dallas defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm like I said, when it like I said before, I apologize. When it comes to MVP voting, wins matter. You got to be top 2 in your conference, and they still are, and they probably will finish top 2 in the conference. But you don't get to be MVP taking a beat down in week 15 from a 500 team or just above 500 team.
But did some of the front runners also had a bad week? Did they not?
Lamar and Brock were the only other front runners.
Yeah, Brock had 3 bad weeks, and because it was early in the season, nobody gives a shit about it.
Dak had 6 bad weeks early in the season.
6 bad weeks? We have 4 losses.
I mean, like, personal stats. Like, Dak didn't get heated up till well into the season. Dak was not on anybody's radar until week 7, week 8.
It was like game 6, game 7.
Yeah, but like...
It was right after they played the The 49ers.
Yeah. I'm not trying to say Brock Purdy's been
It was
perfect.
only because he had been doing well. He'd been doing decent, and then he really heated up.
Hold on. We're getting off track. Let's move on to
Yeah.
Riley for his MVP.
Yeah,
and
I'll
biggest
say
loser.
I'll say this because I was going to say something as well, but we got to keep going.
We will talk about this later on in the show. Stay tuned for that. Riley, hit us with your MVP and biggest loser for Week 15.
My MVP for Week 15 is the Buffalo Bills. Mainly, they went into Dallas and dominated.
Whoa! They did not go into Dallas.
They didn't go. They was at Buffalo.
Oh, at Buffalo. I'm sorry. It was at Buffalo.
Jerry
They
Jones
still
said,
dominated.
man, with the rain.
They were the 2 seed in the NFC.
They still are, I believe.
Yeah,
They still are.
Still are.
yeah.
Yes,
But I also
still are.
Only because they
earlier
lost.
in the season, I'd have to go back and look. It was either at midseason or the beginning of the season. I said the AFC East is going to come down to Week 18, Buffalo versus Miami. Miami's last 3 games are Dallas, Ravens, and Bills. They could go 0-3 in this next 3-week stretch. But for my biggest loser, I am going with the Chicago Bears. Now, right as it was beginning to look like maybe the coaching staff had gotten things figured out, this game happened. And it's being reported by Shefty that Luke Getsy is gone after the season, which a lot of people saw coming, and I don't think it stops at Luke Getsy. And it really puts a lot of things in question, even more than they already were. In that game, there's a lot of talk about keeping Justin Fields or taking Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams doesn't change the fact that Robert Tonyan dropped a 70-yard touchdown, and it doesn't change the fact that Darnell Mooney kicks a ball into the defender's hands.
No, but it gives you 5 years. It gives you
He is
5
not
years of a young quarterback under team control. Who's a more skilled quarterback.
Justin's only 24.
Okay,
But there's
if
still
you draft
Caleb
Williams
is not going to make us a contender next.
If you draft Caleb Williams, you're getting a better player for less money for more years.
I don't think it's for maybe after we picked up
Justin Fields is already a
new
bust.
contract.
So worst case scenario, Caleb Williams is a bust, and you're in the exact same position, but for less money and for more years.
Yeah, but if you do that, then you if you make Caleb Williams your main guy, and then Justin Fields, and you bench Justin Fields, is that what you're saying? Bench Justin?
No,
Fields?
you're trading.
You're trading him away. You're gonna definitely trade him away and get picks.
You're gonna get
I
a
think
fourth round pick
it's
for
much
him.
more worthwhile to work with a quarterback and keep him on your staff and keep him a part of the team.
I think the
Waste of money
GM
at that
goes. I think they make it whatever head coaches hire his choice. Whoever they hire in the offseason to be their head coach, they're going to ask him, do you want Fields or do you want Williams? And I think that's what it's ultimately going to come down to. But the Bears, once again, are a disappointment. For that reason, they are my biggest loser.
I thought you were going to pick Dallas. I was going to laugh really hard.
No.
Oh,
All right,
no.
Dalt, you want to go?
Yeah, so my MVP of the week, the Raiders, man. Shout out the Raiders.
Shout out Vegas.
Just it's an impressive game just as far as numbers go,
Yeah.
It was really just a huge downfall of the Chargers. Big division game. Obviously got Staley fired finally. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just wanted to give a little recognition. Nice little 60-piece that the Raiders put up. Good for them.
Yeah.
After a 3-0 blowout from the Vikings.
After that studly Minnesota Vikings defense.
That nail biting.
Fella, dude. We went 3 games and then 3/4 of a game allowing 1 touchdown, and then the fourth quarter of that Bengals game allowed 3 touchdowns.
It just built up. It built up and then exploded.
Minnesota Vikings know 2 things. 1, losing. 2, pain.
And then my L is the Eagles.
Shocker. I was shocked by that.
Yeah, the Eagles are clearly falling apart. You watch the post-game interviews, Jalen Hurts talking about his team is lacking commitment. So, it just seems like they're not in it. They're not in for Jalen Hurts. Things just aren't meshing well like they were for some reason. I'm not sure what it is.
The 49ers said after the Niners beat the Eagles, Bosa went on TV and said we gave teams the blueprint on how to stop Jalen Hurts. 0-3 since then.
Yeah. Well, 0-2. 0-2.
0-2. 0-3
total,
including that game. So
yeah.
All right. So, guys, my MVP of the week, the big one is the Colts.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, just the team in general.
Yeah, they're balling.
So first of all, the Steelers scored the first 13 points in the game, never scored again. The Colts put up 30 unanswered on them.
Holy shit.
And obviously with how close the AFC is, I wanted to point this out that congratulations to the Colts. We don't talk about them hardly at all.
Yeah,
so I think it's about time we start talking about this team.
I feel like we just expect them to fall. Like they're playing with Gardner Minshew. We're just and they put up those points without Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman came out of the game with a concussion.
He left the game.
So they were without their number one receiver.
And he still finished the game with the most receiving yards, which is crazy.
And number 2 running backs out of the game.
And they still are managing to put up 30 on a pretty good Pittsburgh defense. So shout out to the Colts. At this rate, it looks like they're going to get one of those 3 playoff spots if they keep playing like this. I wanted to give a quick shout out for MVP. I mean, Baker obviously was my MVP, but I feel like this guy, second most passing yards this last week. He did throw for 3 picks. That's why he's not my MVP. But I just want to give a shout out to 38-year-old Joe Flacco for putting up 374 yards passing. I know it's against the Bears, but who gives a shit? If you're that old and you're putting up almost 400 yards passing, that's an insane stat. All right?
That's impressive.
So when it comes to my biggest L of the week, I'm not going to shout out the Cowboys. I'm not going to shout out the Eagles. Here's my reasoning why. They both clinched a playoff spot this week with the L. So congratulations to both of them. So that's why I'm not.
To be perfectly clear, my L wasn't the Cowboys. It was that Dak lost out on his chance to win MVP. That was what my L was. Mine wasn't the whole team. So.
Still got 3 games left.
I'm just saying that's why I'm not going to shout out them. At this point, my biggest L is going to go back to playoffs, and it's Denver.
Ooh,
they did not even have – it wasn't even a close game. And the sad thing is I took Denver plus the points. And the whole time I'm just sitting there regretting it. I'm like, wow, I thought this team was on fire. I thought they were playing so good. And then they do play against a decent playoff team. Detroit's making the playoffs. I'm sorry. I know that's going to upset you guys, but they are.
No, they are. They are.
Yeah, I know they're making it.
And
they got 10 wins already.
Now that you see them –
first round exit.
Yeah. And watching them – I mean, they lost by 25 points. It shows that they're not a playoff team at all. So that's my L of the week, though.
I feel it. All right, we're gonna move on to pick'ems. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna let Spoon go for it. I'm gonna let Spoon steal mine. I happen to know Spoon's pick'em, so I'm gonna let Spoon steal mine. Spoon, you lead us off.
So all right, we're running low on teams here, and I think the easy one to go with, the Broncos just got their asses kicked, which I just talked about. So I think that they have a bounce back week this week against the New England Patriots.
Let's run it back. It back, Denver. Bronco country, let's ride. Let's ride all over Bill.
Riley, Dalton, you guys got a different one?
Well, I had one in mind, but now I can't remember if we could pick them or not.
Who is it?
But Dallas over Miami.
No, they were.
If you haven't picked them yet, you still can.
If you haven't picked them, you could. Philly was the team
because Philly was the team that we eliminated.
I couldn't remember if they had the one in their division
technically, it's technically tied because they both played each other and they both won. They're both 1-1 against each other, and they have.
There's tiebreakers, but at the time in which we started the pick'em around week 10, I believe,
it was Eagles.
I couldn't remember if they had the 1 seed in their.
So back in week 10, I believe, we started the pick'em and we eliminated, because there had been so many weeks already, and we would have used up teams. We eliminated the division leader from each division, and it was the Eagles at that time. So if you have not yet used Dallas, you are free to use them.
Yeah, and then I'll use them. Dallas.
I'm holding off on Dallas for a.
All right, hey
reason.
everybody, write down your motherfucking picks. Okay,
I've got them.
Write down your pick.
Write
it down on your fucking hand.
Can you reuse a team if they lost?
No.
Okay.
My pick'em. I'm gonna make it a little interesting since you guys want to go Broncos. I'm gonna go Patriots.
Oh my god!
Oh, he's doing it again. He's just picking against us. He's trying to make up a lead.
Yeah.
He's gonna lose again. It's fine.
That's fine. That's fine.
I'll
watch you.
Bailey Zappi has a breakout game. He's finally got a little bit of courage. Bill Belichick wants to stick it to Robert Kraft by beating a good head coach and a decent Broncos team. You know, he's going to say, oh, rumors about me leaving. You want to leave? Well, fuck you. You know.
Right. So Riley is taking the Cowboys against the Dolphins.
Yep.
He is 4-1. Me and Spoon are both taking Denver. I am 4-1 as well. Spoon is 2-3. Dalt's taking the Patriots. Dalton is currently 1-2. Those are your standings for the yearly pick'em. Like we said, we only started a few weeks ago, so the record doesn't indicate the week. With that, let's move on to game of the week. I am going to let Riley lead us off.
Yeah, my game of the week, kind of rolling off my pick'em, is Dallas Miami.
Nice.
This has a lot of implications, and a lot can go wrong. Like I said earlier, Miami has a tough last 3 weeks, and they could very well be 0-3. And for the Cowboys, they kind of need to show up to after the blowout they had in Buffalo. Like they need to show up and show out against Miami.
They haven't had back-to-back losses, and I think like 7 years.
Is this
That can't
at
be.
home or at
There's
Miami?
no way.
Does anyone know? Is it
What?
No, it's at Miami.
It's
They
at
only have
Miami.
one more home game against Detroit.
has Dallas won on the road yet?
They
had beat New York. They beat New York twice, so they at least won in New York.
Oh, okay.
At least that's just at least thing. I was
they
like one.
40 on them in New York that first game. That's right. That was
Hold
their
on, give me
first.
1 second. They beat Carolina on the road. They beat the Chargers on the road, and they beat the Giants on the road.
Yeah.
So they've beaten 3 teams on the road. All right, with that, we're gonna get into the highly debated subject on this show. We're gonna try to keep it a little shorter this week. Actually, you know what? No, we're not. We're not gonna go there yet. We're gonna go top 10. We're gonna go top 10 early. We're gonna bring out the top 10 early. We're gonna do it early this week.
I didn't even get my game of the week.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't? My bad. My bad.
A little thrown
Totally
off.
thought you did.
Yeah, me either. I didn't do mine. You didn't. You didn't even do a game of the week.
Yeah, I didn't.
What am I talking about? Sorry, I'm looking at notes here. I'm trying to get everything ready.
It's fine. Hey, I'll make it quick. I'm going to playoff
bad,
recognition and playoff scenarios, so I'm taking Browns Texans as my game of the week. Just because it has huge playoff implications, and I definitely want to. Shefty said that it's probably that CJ Stroud's probably missing, but I'm still curious if he does play. I think it's gonna definitely be a much closer game, and yeah, I'm excited.
Don't sell Davis Mills short or Case Keenum. Either of them, whoever starts. Dalt?
I think it was last week or the week before. Ravens 49ers. This is just going to be hopefully a fun game to watch. I'm hoping like 28-35 type game with the Ravens on top. I would love to see the Ravens show up and just maybe this is a little Super Bowl preview. That'd be kind of interesting.
It's my Super Bowl pick since like week 5. This is my Super Bowl pick.
So yeah, if everything goes right for both teams, we'll have a pretty good game on our hands. Pretty fun game for America to watch.
I won't lie. I think. Oh, we lost Spoon.
You going? Where'd he go?
I don't know. We lost him. I'm gonna remove him though until he comes back. I will say that I think that I think San Francisco matches up really well with Baltimore. I think San Francisco is going to win, but I really want Baltimore to win. I really want Lamar Jackson to get this game, to win this game.
Yeah, I think San Francisco's defense is just a little bit better.
Yeah, but my game of the week is the game that will potentially set up another game if another game goes to plan. So the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions play in Minnesota this weekend. And if the Vikings win out and the Lions lose out, the Vikings are NFC North champs. So the Vikings have to beat Detroit at home. Then they have to beat the Packers at home, while Detroit has to beat the Cowboys
in Dallas.
And then in Dallas. And then the Vikings play Detroit at Detroit. And that game would be for the NFC North title. So while it's unlikely the Vikings pull out 3 straight wins and the Lions pull out 3 straight losses, it's not dead in the water. That's my game of the week. Something to watch out for. Something to watch out for. I will be watching, as you all know. So with that, now we're going to move on to the top 10. Now we're going to move on.
I expected to see some big changes this week, honestly.
There were. I have some shit I want to talk about as far as this is concerned, because I have some issues with this top 10.
I feel like I always do the top 10s like before the Monday night games, just because I normally go to bed before they're over. And I feel like every time I'm iffy about a team and put them high, they lose on Monday night.
All right. So here we go. On the border, we have the Texans, the Rams, and the Jags all receiving 1 vote this week. And they were edged out by the Colts, who got 2 votes this week, 2 points, thanks to yours truly, Lane.
I did.
Tuner.
I put the Colts in there.
Yeah.
Put the Colts in at 9. I'm not hating on it. We'll get to my issues with the top 10 after we go through the whole top 10 for everybody at home. You have the Bills at 9 receiving 10 points. The Chiefs with 14 at 8. The Browns at 7 with 18. This is where it got close. It got real close here in the middle. The Eagles, Cowboys, and Lions were each 1 point separated. Eagles at 6, Cowboys at 5, Lions at 4 with 23, 22, and 21 respectively. Dolphins at 3 with 32. The Niners with 37 at 2. And then the Ravens with 39 in the number 1 spot, keeping the number 1 spot. That 1 and 2 has been the same for a few weeks. Now, I say I have some issues, okay? 1, I think the Rams are a better team than the Colts. That's my first issue.
No, I agree.
2, I think the Jags are going to miss the playoffs. 3, we continue to disrespect the motherfucking Cleveland Browns, and all they fucking do is win football games.
They almost lost to the Bears.
Yeah, but did they lose? Did they
at
lose?
Home?
The Cowboys lost. The Cowboys lost to the Cardinals. Okay, teams.
Who all of the Browns even played?
Hold on, hear me out. All the Browns do is win. Okay, the Browns. All they do is win.
They've actually had a pretty tough schedule.
Yeah, okay, hear me out. The Lions, who we've put, I should say, you guys have turned into a top 4 team, are 2-4 in their last 4 games with losses to Green Bay and at Chicago. They lost to Chicago, who you just said was a strike against the Browns for almost losing to Chicago. The Cleveland Browns have lost at Denver, tough place, at Los Angeles, tough team, and have beaten Jacksonville and Chicago.
Yeah, and they also beat the Bengals first game of the season.
Well, but I'm just talking about their last 4, like the last 4 weeks, kind of a little bubble period. Yeah. These last 4 weeks for the Browns are far more impressive than the last 4 weeks for the Lions. And the Browns have had a tougher strength of schedule. They have a 2-game, so basically 0.91 comparatively to a 1.17 strength of schedule. Basically saying the Cleveland Browns, on average, face an opponent who is 2 games better than the Detroit Lions do.
I don't think the Browns beat any team above them right now.
The Browns beat the Lions.
Right,
in my opinion.
If they played right now, I don't think the Browns.
And they lost to Denver and the Rams, 2 teams that aren't even in our top 10 in the last 4 weeks. That's why we can't put them in the top 10.
The Lions lost to Green Bay and Chicago, 2 games that aren't in our top 10 in the last 4 weeks.
They also have a better record.
Division games. In division games are weird. We've been saying
they do. I don't like. Look at how they're rated. Look at how they're rated. The Browns don't have a better record than anybody.
The Browns have one less win.
So they're right where they should be.
So they have one less win
over every team that's ahead of them.
There's no. We're
not fucking the Browns over. There's no team ahead of the Browns that has a worse record than them. We're not fucking them over by any means.
So the top 10 is purely based off record. We should just
it's not based off record, but it is.
I should also say Spoon is going to die for this list because this is his exact. It just worked out this way. It's crazy. Spoon, this is your exact.
It is my exact list
minus the Bills. Indy.
I don't know the Browns beat the Chiefs or Bills right now.
I don't think the Browns beat the Bills right now. I don't think the Browns beat the Bills.
They had one good game against Dallas. They absolutely beat the Bills.
Because they know that playoff time's coming and they need to step the fuck up, and they did.
The Bills have beat the Eagles too, haven't they?
If the Browns and the Lions played tomorrow in Cleveland, Cleveland would be minus 3.5. 3 points for home field, half a point because they're the better team.
Yeah. Also, Bills did not have a good game against Dallas. Dallas had a bad game against Bills.
No, don't.
Dallas is averaging more than around they're averaging 35 points a game.
Listen, the only thing I took from that game was we could not stop the run at all. That game.
They dominated
you. They ran the ball
and had two bad penalties.
They came out and said, "We're gonna run the ball down your fucking throat.
And that's all
You're
they
gonna
did.
like it."
That's why I hated you sitting there saying that Dak Prescott did so bad. He still had the most passing yards the whole game.
I'm not saying that Dak did bad. I'm saying that he lost out on MVP because of.
I don't think he lost out.
But you can't
win MVP and have that game.
Pass yards against him. They were up 3 touchdowns.
What if? Let me give you a hypothetical, Brenner. What if Dak goes up next week and puts up? Let's just say he balls out and throws 500 yards against the Miami Dolphins, 5 touchdowns.
Yeah,
something crazy. And then what do you say? And then you say he has no.
Whoever
chance.
wins the San Francisco Ravens game will be the MVP favorite next week.
Yes, I completely.
That's just a fact.
I agree.
I'll put it on record right now. That guarantee the winner of that game, the quarterback of the winning team of the Niners Ravens game next week will be the MVP favorite after that game. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I believe that. But
that's so. Even if Dak went out and balled out, another person is going to have to take a major step back for him to have any shot of winning MVP. Because even whoever loses that game, Lamar or Purdy, whoever loses that game, they're not going to, unless they go out and get blown out. So it could happen. So, Lamar goes out there, gets a 30-10 victory hung on him. Then I think him and Dak are even and tied for second with Purdy at 1 and vice versa. Purdy and Dak and then Lamar. So I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying as of right now, he is not an MVP favorite anymore. He could still get there. But right now, if voting happened today, Dak may receive 2 to 5 votes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to shit on Dak. Dak was not the main issue of that game. Not at all. That's not at all what's going on. It's just he has lost out on the MVP race right now. But back to my original point. I think the Browns should be higher than the Lions. I think the Lions are not a better team than the Cowboys. They're not a better team than the Eagles. I don't even think the Browns or the Lions are a better team than the Chiefs.
I mean, we can literally look at a comparison over the last 3 weeks with the Lions. The Lions just beat the shit out of Denver, and Denver beat the shit out of the Browns. So it's that's why I'm putting the Lions up there.
But the Lions beat the Bears, and the Bears beat the Lions. Or sorry,
but
the
it's
Browns
a division game. You are the one who always says division games
are weird.
Yeah, sometimes they are.
These are out of division games. These aren't division games. Pittsburgh sucks ass. They're I don't think they're that good at all.
Yeah.
And I mean, Cleveland just snuck by a win against them a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
That looks bad on paper, but you're right. It's a division game. That's why I'm not calling that game out at all. But I am going to call out the 29-12 loss.
Every single division game is weird.
No, but I'm giving you my reasoning. That's why I'm putting the Lions above the Browns.
Yeah,
there's a similar opponent. That's why. There's your reasoning. They got their dicks kicked in by Denver, and the Lions just beat the shit out of Denver. So yes, that's similar. You can go each way. There's a reason why I'm putting the Lions above the Browns. You gave me your reasoning for putting the Browns over the Lions.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. You gave me yours, I gave you mine. I really think that if the Browns and Lions played in Detroit, it would be Detroit minus 2.5.
I don't think the Browns beat the Eagles or the Cowboys either, though.
I don't think the Lions beat either of those teams.
I honestly, I would have been fine with.
I had Detroit. I had Detroit at 8 on my list, and they made the top 4.
And the only reasons I bumped Detroit over the Cowboys and the Eagles is just because the Cowboys and the Eagles both lost this week. That's why.
Yeah, that's fair, and that's fair.
And that's why. Like, I promise you, if all 3 of these teams win next week, I'll probably bump the Cowboys and the Eagles
I'm just
back
saying,
over the Lions.
The Lions went from 8 to 4, jumping teams that won. Like, that didn't make sense to me. So, but anyways, we've spent enough time talking about the top 10. We'll post that on our social media tomorrow. If you want to check it out there, go ahead and follow us, all that jazz on Instagram at Wide Eye Sports, going across the bottom of the screen right now. With that, we're going to move on to the highly, highly contested part of the show. We're going to open up the second half of the show with our MVP segment. And I'm going to say it, Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy, those are the 2 MVP favorites. I don't think anybody else has.
Who's your favorite over them, though? Because I know it's probably opposite of what I'm going to say.
Who do I think is going to win, or who's my personal favorite?
Your person. I mean, we both enjoy watching Lamar play. Like, don't get me wrong.
But what are you asking? Are you asking who I think is going to win? I'm asking
if it ended right now, who gets it, Lamar or Purdy?
Purdy gets it.
Purdy gets it. Yeah, okay.
We're
on the same page there.
The NFL likes to suck off Lamar.
First off, Lamar's fantastic. No, you just hate him. My second point is Lamar.
What did it have?
I'm just shitting. I'm fucking with you.
It out.
Calm down.
The NFL has him plastered. Him and Patrick Mahomes. You can't. They're everywhere.
Yeah, because they're really good. Like, really good.
Yes, and that's why, like, they would rather give it to Lamar than give it to Purdy.
But Purdy's the ultimate football story. Purdy's the ultimate football story.
Lamar gets it.
But Purdy's the ultimate feel-good football story. The last pick of the draft in his second season wins MVP. That is a golden storyline.
Lamar is the NFL's guy.
No, he's not. Pat Mahomes is the NFL's guy.
No, Lamar is not the NFL's guy.
Yeah, no way, shape, or form.
What? It was such a hard time for him getting the fucking contract, getting signed. Like, so many teams didn't want him.
He still isn't.
Like, can he still play? He missed 5.
Hold on. Okay, so here. I have a comparison.
Trevor Lawrence outplayed Lamar Jackson last week, even with the loss.
You're not wrong. You're talking about passing.
No, I'm talking about rushing too. Trevor Lawrence led the Jacksonville Jaguars in rushing.
Really?
Lawrence had 300 total yards, a touchdown, no interceptions, no mistakes made.
That's crazy.
Lamar Jackson had less
like
than 300 yards. Yeah, he had like 260, 250, and he had an interception.
Yeah. No.
So, I mean, I'm just saying like that, like looking back at like stats absolutely. Like that, that's why I think Purdy is the favorite right now.
No, that's fair. That's fair. And I'm like I said, I think if the voters voted tomorrow, Purdy would win. My only point is that if you take Brock Purdy off the Niners, same thing I said for weeks, they're not missing a whole lot. They might miss a beat or two because the next quarterback wouldn't be in the same chemistry with those guys, but they're gonna be fine. If the Ravens lost to Lamar Jackson, they're a 6-win football team.
Yeah, but Purdy and the 49ers were rolling in the playoffs, and then he missed the game against the Eagles, and the Eagles win, and that's what got him into the
But they were on their – it wasn't because Purdy went out. It was because they had Christian McCaffrey in at quarterback.
But, I mean, you can also say that Purdy going out, like, that cost them like a Super Bowl appearance. Like,
yeah, it did, but it wasn't because their backup wasn't good enough. It was because their backup was a running back.
I know. I'm just saying, like, they missed him and they missed the playoffs.
No, absolutely. So, I'm saying, I'm not saying that anybody could step in there, but I am saying any of the top 30. No, not top 30. Any of the top 20 quarterbacks in the world could step in for Brock Purdy right now and compete at the same level. Like that, he's not an amazing quarterback. He's playing like one, and he definitely deserves the credit, and that's why we're talking about him right now as an MVP candidate. But Lamar is carrying an entire offense through a season.
I really think you're just disrespecting the rest of the entire Baltimore offense. Like
I am.
I mean, they do have a top offensive line. They have a pretty good offensive line.
They have one Pro Bowl or
what does that fucking matter? What does that
means it means that the linemen have not done anything in their career to show that we are a upper echelon player.
Okay,
we are an average player.
How many Pro Bowlers do they have this year?
Using Pro Bowl.
One. Spoon, he has one Pro
How
Bowl.
many are they going to have this year?
The thing decided by
they stepped up this year. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I that's why I'm saying
playing great though. So I'm sure that a couple of them at least get a Pro Bowl appearance this year.
Yes, you know how many people, you know how many fucking linemen there are in the NFL? They can't put them all there. Doesn't mean they're all bad.
I'm not saying they're
if a
bad.
Quarterback is doing good,
I'm saying they're not upper echelon.
Good, man.
I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying
I do just want to.
None of them are Pro Bowlers doesn't mean that they're not playing like crazy.
I don't think we're gonna have a whole lot of like more MVP talk, but I do want to just point out that look at the quarterbacks that led in passing this week. What a weird, it's just been a weird season at the quarterback position.
It really, dude. We're playing with like 20 backup quarterbacks right now.
I mean, you got
and Cam Newton still isn't on the team.
You're right.
Jake Browning, Garner Minshew, Joe Flacco decided to wake up from the grave and come back and play some football.
Got off his couch, dusted his finger fingers off, and was like, "I'm gonna throw for 400."
Case Keenum, who's been a backup his whole life, is like, "Hey, I'm ready to start."
Hey, you put some respect on Case Keenum's name in this house.
Fucking Drew Lock, bro. Shout out Drew Lock.
Oh yeah, Drew Lock too. Like
Drew
what
Lock.
the heck, dude?
Fucking Drew the screwing up spreads everywhere.
Oh man, it's so crazy.
Daggering the Eagles in Seattle. That was crazy. That has Seattle fans out here fucking hyped. Fucking everybody. I've listened to Seattle fans for 2 years tell me like Geno needs to get benched and then we need to play Drew Lock, and they are all right now like, let's go. We were all right. We were right all along.
Until next week.
Is so good. And they are
until next week. Whenever he has a bad week.
We'll see.
I want to point out that I'm pretty sure we talked about this game at the beginning of the season, Brenner, and I told you that the Eagles were going to drop this game in Seattle.
Yeah,
so I'm happy that one of my predictions did actually come true. So
yeah.
Not a lot of them are wrong, but hey, at least I got one right.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong about a lot of them being wrong. No, just kidding. No, and I will say one last thing about the MVP talk is when you look at it on paper, it's Purdy all day, right? When we look at it on paper, the completion percentage 3.5 points higher, the total yards 87 more total yards, the total touchdowns 9 more total touchdowns, 2 more turnovers to Lamar, and then the passer rating is Purdy's at an elite level in passer, like untouchable.
His passer rating's through the roof.
It's 119. That's fucking insane. I think Aaron Rodgers has the highest average of all time, or did at one point at like 104. Like that was like, I mean, Lamar's at a 96.5, and that's good. Like Kirk Cousins' career is like 96, so like that's good. You're an average or above average NFL quarterback at that level. Like weekly, you're that good. And so Brock's just, I mean, his offense is just insane. Like they just don't struggle like they did for a few weeks. Don't get me wrong. Like I think he had like 115 passing yards one game in that 3-game slump they had. But the other two, I think he had 301 and 250 in the other. So like even in the games they were losing, he was putting up raw stats. So like there's just no dip for him. I will say it is impressive that Lamar Jackson is only 87 total yards behind Brock Purdy, but I don't think that would be enough to get the voters on Lamar's side. I would love nothing more than Lamar to win this MVP because I think he deserves it. He's playing. So Dalton, whenever you say like I'm discrediting the rest of the Baltimore offense, Lamar Jackson is driving a souped up Corvette right now. Like he is not in a fucking Toyota Camry. Like he's driving a Corvette, but Purdy is driving a Bugatti that he had custom ordered. Like, and he was placed into. Like there is a huge gap between the two offenses. But that's not saying that a souped up Corvette isn't a great.
We are going to
car.
fucking find out this week.
We will find out this week.
We absolutely will. Unfortunately, I think Purdy's going to have the better game. We'll see. We'll see. Baltimore does have a top 5 defense, so they could come out and be like, nah, we're the real fucking deal. Okay.
I'm very excited for this game.
All right. With that, we're going to take a little look at the playoffs. We're going to look over here at the playoffs.
I'm kind of excited to look at this with you guys, too.
We're going to present, share screen, and go on over to the 2023 playoff picture. So right here at the top, let's give a round of applause for everybody who has clinched a playoff spot, that being the Ravens as the 1 seed right now in the AFC, the 49ers at 1 in the NFC, the Cowboys at 2 in the NFC, and the Eagles at 5 in the NFC. Now, obviously, those can also change, but right now that's where they land.
Hey, Spoon, shout out me and you for being the only people on here who's a fan of
playoff teams already.
Teams.
Yeah. So we can just sit back and relax for the rest of the season, right? We've already made it to the playoffs. No, I'm just kidding.
First round motherfucking exits. Sit down. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, we made it. We made it. That's all. That's all. We got to the show.
Here's my thing. So down here, we have the Lions, Bucks, Vikings, Rams, and then we have the Seahawks, Saints, both at 7-7, tied with the bottom 4 seeds. I mean, this is tight. I mean, we still got the Falcons at 6-8, Packers at 6-8. I don't think they have a chance. I don't think the Packers get in. They've lost 2 of their last 4. Like, I just don't see it.
If the Giants beat the Eagles on Monday, I will freak out.
I mean, technically, the Giants have a chance to get in. I don't see that happening. Technically, the Bears have a chance to get in. I don't see that happening
either.
The
Giants have been doing pretty good. Tommy DeVito has been playing pretty good.
Yeah, they didn't do too hot this past week, though.
Yeah, but other than that.
I'm just saying, I see either Seattle in the Rams or Seattle in Minnesota. And I also see either the Bucks or the Saints getting the 4 seed. One of those 2 teams will have that. And then these 3 teams are going to be, that being the Seahawks, Vikings, Rams. 2 of those 3 will be your wild cards, I imagine. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
That's fair.
All right, now we go to the AFC.
Now to the AFC where shit's just wide open.
So for this week, we have the 2 1 seeds, both of which have already clinched playoff spots facing. And then we have the 2 2 seeds facing as well this week, one of which who has not clinched a playoff spot yet. So, I mean, Dallas is clinched. Now, granted, they're still fighting for that 1 seed. You know, they can still make a play of that 1 seed, especially if Baltimore.
I will lie, cheat, and steal my way. Watch that game. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I'll call in. I'll sneak into that stadium, bro.
So that's a huge game for the Dolphins. The Dolphins have a lot on the line right there.
The Dolphins are about to lose out.
Yeah.
Who else are they playing after Dallas?
Say Cowboys, Ravens.
Dallas, Ravens, Bills.
They are not losing to the Bills. They're not losing to the Bills. So you're right now.
If the Bills win out, that'll be for the division. The Bills already have the tiebreaker.
They have Chargers.
They've already beat Miami once
before Miami too, so they could. Definitely...
I'm gonna tell you right now, the Dolphins are not losing to the Bills. Unless Tyreek is hurt, then they have a chance.
I'm bookmarking that tweet.
Bookmark it, fucking save it, clip it, run it back, play it for me. That way, when I show it to Riley after his 18th time standing for Josh Allen, and then Josh Allen letting him down.
Just blew out the Cowboys.
We've had 2 episodes where I went, okay, Riley, are we done with the Josh Allen thing now? And he goes, yeah, we're done. And then the next week, he goes, yeah, it's back. And then the next week, like, okay,
back.
We're finally done with this, right? He goes, yeah, no, Josh Allen, the Bills are cooked now. The Bills are done. And then the next week, he's like, all right, so the Bills. Like, this is
They're
not.
still in it.
You're not
Bills
wrong.
play the Chargers.
Well, it's just, I'm looking at it like Bengals, Colts, and Texans all hold the tiebreaker against the Bills. So the Bills really have an uphill battle against
division.
them.
But even if they have to win the division.
Yes.
Hey, Riley, what week did the Bears fire Frank Reich? No, Frank Reich was the Panthers coach. What? That's right. What week did they fire Frank Reich?
The Panthers?
Yeah. Does anybody know?
2 weeks ago? Something. I don't know.
because it was a stat I saw it on the Pat McAfee show. There was a stat. It was like something crazy, like teams that just fired a head coach. They said it after they fired Josh McDaniels, but teams that fired a head coach are like, it was like 320-0. Like
just something crazy.
Every team, it was like up until I think it was the Panthers that broke that.
Of course.
Hey, Panthers got to win this week, all right?
And then I'm pretty sure they still lost.
The Bears, as many losing seasons as they've had, they've never fired a coach mid-season.
That's class. That's class.
It's class.
But they'll fire Lovie after a 10-win season.
I'm just gonna say it's just a stupid stat to look at. You know, maybe this is the year that you get a couple of losses on there, but also maybe the Bills lose to the Chargers next week.
Yeah, like that's not an unreasonable.
It's not a crazy stat. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
something...
like the Bills lost. Yeah, okay.
Quentin Johnson was like. He was a first rounder, man.
Quentin Johnson.
The Chargers that just got 60 hung on them by the Raiders.
But I mean, we were just talking about the Broncos, who the freaking
Miami Dolphins hung 70 on them earlier this season.
Football's crazy, man. Nothing means anything. Okay,
nothing means anything. Everything's a lie. Don't read the books.
There's so many different factors. Head coach.
Don't even listen to us. Just go sit in a dark corner and wait for your team to lose. Just do that. And if they don't lose, just be happy they didn't lose. Don't do anything.
I want to know, Brenner. You said earlier Jacksonville does not make the playoffs. I want to know why.
I mean, they're just not playing good. As a team, they're not playing well right now.
Yeah, but they played the Panthers and Titans 2 of their last 3 games. Like those should be.
I think they beat
games.
I think they go 2-1, but I think Houston.
I think they lose
3-0.
I mean, I think that Jacksonville loses to the Bucks. I definitely think that, but I think that they beat the Panthers and the Titans, and if they do that, then they're going to finish 10-7. You're telling me a team that's 10-7 is probably not going to make the playoffs? Like,
not when the team that makes it in over them
whoa.
is 11-6.
You think Houston's going to beat the Browns next week?
Yep.
You think Houston beats the Colts in Indianapolis right now?
If CJ Stroud plays. This is all if CJ Stroud plays. This is all if CJ Stroud plays.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, if Houston loses if CJ Stroud does not play, they lose to the Browns this week.
For sure.
Absolutely. 100%.
Who's their backup?
This is all Case Keenum.
Case Keenum is.
And we put respect on Case's name in this house.
Why? Because he played for the Vikings for a little while?
Because he was part of the Minneapolis Miracle, motherfucker. All right?
That meant what? What did that lead to? A that you get to see every year?
My heart.
Isn't that awesome?
It led to heartbreak, as does every season for the Vikings.
You get to see that TikTok every year, and then every year it's like 3 years ago today, 4 years ago today, the Minneapolis Miracle, 5 years ago today.
It's a great memory. I love it. I have it right over there.
That is a very crazy game.
Only time that's ever happened in the playoffs that there was a walk-off touchdown at the end of regulation. It's the only time it's ever happened.
Really?
Ever. It's crazy. But that's the past. We're looking to the future. Hopefully this year's playoffs brings us many more.
Sigh.
I know. Many more great things. I mean, Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls, so you never know. With that, does anybody have any other closing comments, concerns, questions about the playoffs?
I'm excited, man. This is going to be a fun year.
With that, I'm going to move on to our rapid fire segment that we're bringing back this week. I just have a couple questions for everybody. I want everybody to give a quick response to these. Just don't have to be
yes
one
or
word.
No.
It could be one word, yes or no. It could be a couple words, a sentence, but don't spend 2 minutes talking about it. All right. Who is the best top to bottom team out of these 3? The 3 in the category are Chicago, Arizona, and Carolina. Top to bottom teams, front to back, coaching, home field advantage, everything. Take everything into consideration. Who are you taking? Chicago, Arizona, or Carolina? Riley?
– It's so hard for me to take Chicago but I feel like I have to take it. Have you seen the pictures of Carolina's stands?
Oh yeah, no, Carolina's. Oh dude, it was painful.
Dead water.
And
if you weren't going to take Chicago, who would you take?
The Cardinals.
Okay.
Who's the Cardinals quarterback?
Kyler Murray.
Yes, and I think their coaching staff is better than Chicago's, and possibly their ownership.
Yeah,
I would
ownership,
say
quarterback.
upper management. They have not history, but upper management they have on Chicago. I don't think they have home field advantage.
I don't know about home field advantage. I would say they have a better quarterback than Chicago. I wouldn't say offensive line. I would say maybe a better defense, but it's borderline. Like I wouldn't even give them that. That's like a thing. Dalt, who you taking?
Chicago. Easy.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Spoon.
Man,
it's hard. This is a hard
one.
Like, I don't make them easy.
I want to say the Bears, but it's like I'm also looking at. Well, the Bears do have the defensive stat. Like they're really good against the run. I'll give them that.
Yeah,
their front office.
Bears have 5 wins.
To fuck up.
And
like they always manage to make the wrong.
Yeah, but Kyler Murray's only played like a third of the season. Dalton.
Yeah,
they're playing honestly, with backup quarterback before that.
I feel like if the Bears was just
take everything into account. I'm taking everything into account.
Like I think the Bears have weapons. I don't think that they like. I think their running backs are good enough. I think they have a really good receiving core. I do like Justin Fields. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I think that if the Bears would just invest a little bit of money into their offensive line, I think they're a playoff team.
See, I think their offensive line is good now.
I mean, they haven't been playing bad, but I
think they've been playing good.
I think that they just they've been trying to get Justin Fields some protection. And I think just help them out just a little more because that defense isn't bad by any means.
I mean,
get a corner.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Justin Fields has more time in the pocket than any other quarterback in the NFL currently.
Okay.
Because did you watch that Cleveland game? They're running 4 verticals. Like it is.
No. Coaching definitely doesn't help. Coaching doesn't help Fields' lack of weapons. He has 2, maybe 3 weapons on that offense. The running backs is good. He obviously has DJ Moore, who's a top 10 wide receiver, and he has Cole Kmet, who's a top 10 tight end.
Well, I like Mooney too.
You like guys who kick the ball in the end zone on Hail Mary?
I liked Mooney, but he has not shown up this year. I don't think
he's had a down year.
He is not with the national media. Which, hold on, I want to bring something to your attention. Earlier, Riley said that Lamar Jackson was a golden boy of the NFL. You realize that Chicago is like one of the golden franchises of the NFL, right? Like you guys
Packers,
without a doubt.
Like you guys get more hype anytime you show.
We have won Super Bowl. Like I am not. Yes, the Bears are one of the cornerstone franchises.
No. I'm talking about overhyped. Anytime the Bears show a sliver of life, the entire media is like, "Oh my God, here are the Bears!
Okay,
Bears! Duh, Bears!"
No.
Dude, yes.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
You guys had
not a chance.
5 primetime games. 5 the year after you guys won the division with Mitchell Trubisky. You had 5 the next season. You went from 1 to 5
Yeah. We had one of the top defenses in the
Panthers
NFL
haven't been on
a
Thursday Night Football or hosted.
Year.
When the Panthers haven't been on Thursday Night Football or hosted a Monday Night Football game in 13 and a decade, like that, like there are teams out there who get no love, and anytime Chicago gets even the slightest bit of light, the entire media jumps on them because they're the single biggest team market in America.
I am not going to argue that they're the biggest market, but I do not agree at all that the NFL glorifies
and you have the rival Packers, who are the golden child of the NFL. Most fucking annoying thing ever. They are the golden child.
And then you have 2 poverty franchises in the division.
I know I can look this up. I know I can look this up right now, but I know you guys probably know the answer to this question. Are the Packers, Bears, Vikings all in the same division?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you're biased, Brenner. That's what it is.
This is a statistical fact. I'll have stats for you next week. I'll have facts for you guys next week. I promise. This is a fact. I can prove it. I just can't prove it right this second because I don't have the facts in front of me, but I can prove it. We'll come back to it next week.
I'm just gonna leave it on my note that the Bears are like maybe a good corner and safety, maybe another offensive lineman away from being a playoff contender.
All right. So. With that, I'm going to ask everybody yes or no answer only. Is Seattle the real deal? Yes or no? Riley, go.
No.
Spoon?
No.
Dalton?
Yes. Haha, just kidding. No.
Oh, you got me. All right. Better chance that 3 NFC North or NFC West teams make the playoffs. Now we have the Bears out, obviously, and we have the Cardinals out, obviously. But all 6 of those teams.
Oh, the Bears have not been eliminated from playoffs yet.
Yeah,
but they're not making it
right.
They're still in the hunt.
See, look, unnecessary hype around the Bears with a sliver of hope, like fucking every time.
No, you hold on to what you have, okay?
Yeah, okay. Riley, better NFC North, NFC West. What do you think?
They're playing Cardinals, Falcons, Green Bay.
Hold on. Better chance, North. West, Riley, who gets in? If West. 3 teams make it. West?
I think the West as well.
Dalt?
Yeah, I'll say the West.
Yeah, I agree. I think if Green Bay had won against Tampa Bay, I would take the North, but with that loss, I'm going to take the NFC West with the Packers, or the 49ers, Rams, and Seahawks. Oh, all right. Last question here. Who wins the NFC South, New Orleans or Tampa Bay?
Tampa Bay.
All right. And I lied. That's not the last question. Who wins the AFC South? We got Indy, we got Houston, and we got Jacksonville. All 3 teams.
Yeah, tied at 8-6.
Are we saying
got the better division
Stroud is coming back?
What?
Are we saying CJ Stroud is coming back?
Say it with your prediction. He misses 1 game and they lose. Or let's say he misses 1 game, one out of the 3. Let's say he misses 1 game.
Jacksonville.
Spoon wants to say Indy so bad he can't see straight.
I do want to say Indy so bad.
Say
I really do, but just looking at the schedules, man, like I think Jacksonville holds up. I think they do drop 1 this week, and then I think Indy and Jacksonville both make the playoffs. I think they both finish out the year 2-1, and that's
okay.
Winning 10 games in the year. I mean, that's going to be enough. I don't think Houston makes it.
I'm gonna say Indy wins the division. Jacksonville's the wild card unless CJ Stroud plays all 3 games, in which case Houston will win the division and Indy will be the wild card.
I'm just looking at it, man, and even with CJ Stroud back, they have 2 tougher opponents they play with the Browns and the Colts coming up, and I don't know if CJ Stroud goes into Indianapolis and beats Indy right now.
I don't know if CJ Stroud can, go out and be a top 10 NFL quarterback his rookie season, but he did it. Don't doubt CJ. Okay. Dude's the real deal. With that, does anybody have anything they would like to add? I have not forgotten the top 10 this week. We already did that. So, is there anything anyone would like to say right now? No? All right. Well, with that, we'd like to thank you all for showing up, supporting us. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Tell us how dumb we are. Tell us how smart we are. Tell us whatever you want to tell us down below. With that, we will see you again next weekend. Well, next week.
Weekend.